Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. And after that result on Wednesday, it was a proper kick in the teeth for all Manchester United fans. What's your confidence and your patience like surrounding Ruben Amorim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's vision for this football club? Do you think it will improve next season? Get involved, have your say, because we will want to discuss a lot of your comments throughout today's video. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling all right. I've got over the shock and the disappointment. Spoke to United fans last night, what was over there in Bilbao. Spoke to an ex-player this morning over coffee, and they really fear for the future. They don't see anything positive. They were shocked with the game on Wednesday night, but they did say the one thing: it's repeat. The way the team's put out there, the way they're set up, they don't see any hope going forward, and not many people do. There is many doubts over Ratcliffe, over the manager, more and more about the manager. There's not many people I spoke to sort of like bigging Ruben Amorim up for the future. They do fear that this style of football is easily played against, and we've seen it all season.
Yeah, we have done, to be fair. You do get that feeling from the actual managers in the Premier League, like they've already sussed out the system and how to play against it, despite a lack of quality as well in the squad. But Martin in the chat says, "Morning, lads. Hope everyone is feeling a little bit better after Wednesday. Yesterday was awful, personally. It's just killing me what's happening to the club." Darren says, "What an absolute mess. Best sell now, the Glazers. Ineos out." Adam from our members club says, "Can't wait for Monday morning to come. This season has been so bad. I don't think Jim and the Glazers will be doing anything good for this club. Ruben needs support." Martin also goes on to beginning to think this isn't temporary either. The club is in terminal decline, whereas Simply Dread United says from our members club, "I'm looking forward to Sunday so I can support the club I love." The one thing I'm not looking forward to on Sunday is Aston Villa fans singing "Olé, olé, olé" as they pass around the Manchester United players, because you can see that coming, in my opinion.
The conversations what are coming in, it's all about the club's in a mess. People just cannot believe what a mess it's in. What Sir Jim Ratcliffe's come in and done is kill the morale inside the club. I mean, it was bad anyway. We know about players' attitude and everything else like that. We've seen it, we've heard it. But it's the mess the club is in. It's the decline since Sir Jim Ratcliffe's come in and what he's done to the morale and everything about it. It's all penny pinching, all about money and not about what's on the team. They've got Ruben Amorim in here, and people, they were saying he froze on Wednesday night. He didn't know what to do. To
be honest with you, I know I've heard that myself. A couple of lads that I know who went over to Bilbao on Wednesday, and that was a conversation I was having with him late last night, that they think he froze, and other fans thought that as well over in Bilbao. And I have to agree with that he did froze in making changes, maybe at half-time or at least first 10 minutes of that second half to give Tottenham something to think about.
Well, this morning, you talk about giving Tottenham something to think about. I was talking to an ex-player, and he just said, why weren't they on the front foot? Where was the experiment? Where was the risk, the reward? It was a final. Tottenham knew United style of play. Every manager come to Old Trafford or play when we play away, they know the style, they know what they're up against, and it's easy to play against. And he said, where was the difference? Nothing was different. United were just quite happy to try and keep the ball. There was no attack, there was no wing play or anything. And it's week after week, and that's what the fans fear, that with this manager, it's not going to change. And it's all down to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He's backing Ruben Amorim. They're bringing him in, and you've got to say he has to have the backing at the start of the season, because that's the manager. Yes, it's been turmoil. We know how bad it's been, but there is some people out there, and I agree, this manager has to be given the tools. But will he get the tools? That's the thing. And is this system good enough? These are all questions people are asking. There's doubt. There's no real hope from the fans going forward at the state. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is overlooking this club. He's just looking at it and he's just running it down, penny pinching, morale, everything. And it's will things change? there's a lot of disheartened people out there, and I understand it. I'm disheartened myself. I'm low. I've never been so low in my life at this club, and it is hard to see the future. But you have to turn around and say, right, the manager's here. The manager's here. He's just got to have the tools, and he's got to improve. The pressure's on.
Back into the actual chat. Alan Bircham from our members club. If we was to get into the Champions League, what would we have done? We don't deserve to be there, and we definitely didn't deserve to win that Europa League final. Patrick Shields, thanks for the super chat. He says they have every reason to take a machete to this team and rip it up, and yeah, that's what needs doing, because he needs, at least for me, to see an improvement in the system, performances and results. We need a minimum of 4 to 5 first-team players in this squad in the summer.
Well, here's the problem. Someone just said, I'd have liked to have been in the Champions League. Well, that's fine. But from Ruben Amorim's point of view, he told us, well, if we'd have got in there, everyone's expecting the riches and everything coming in. He was only talking about possibly, if we get in the Champions League, we may be able to bring one more player in. Sure. Well, hang on a minute. Bringing in one more player, that means the 3 possible targets he's going for, that's it. So we're not in the Champions League, so there's only 3 players coming in. Now, how I look at it, there's possibly 6 players going to be sold here. There's 3 or 4 players whose contracts are up. Well, that's 10 players. Well, if there's only 3 targets, and we might not get them, after getting no European football, you know what it's like. The figures don't add up. Bringing in 3, losing 10. I mean, what's he going to work with? The youth? Well, look, let's get something right. We know we need strikers and that. And if you're expecting people like Ethan Wheatley to come through, no, not in my opinion. Obi, not in my opinion. We need world-class strikers. We need people who can score goals. Now, Cunha looks as though he's on the way, but we've not got confirmation of the other 2. But is that strong enough for Ruben Amorim to improve this team, to improve what's going on? Week after week, we're just getting slapped silly, 2-0, 3-0, and just getting outplayed. Now, we need more than 3 players. We're not in the Champions League. So that's the fear. That's the conversation out there. We won't be able to improve with 3 players losing 10. I'm mystified. I'm worried, and fans out there are worried. They're absolutely looking at Sir Jim Ratcliffe and going, "You have made a right balls up of this club, and you've just put us rock bottom." That's the situation we are, and they don't see any sunlight going forward. They are really, really worried. And everyone out there, I see all the comments and everything, and everyone is worried. Everyone's disgusted at certain things what have gone on with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim is taking pelters, and I can't defend Ruben Amorim. Cannot defend Ruben Amorim. All I can say on Ruben Amorim's behalf is he's got to be given a fresh start at the start of the season. And like he says, I didn't want to be here till the summer. So let's just see.
I know you're talking about a fresh start at the start of the season, but I just feel, especially after that loss in the Europa League, I don't think there is a fresh start amongst some sections of the United fans. And I think the pressure now, especially, if they do have a good summer in terms of recruitment, getting players in, but most importantly, getting players out. And fans are also going to look at it that next season there's no European football. Is that only now twice in something like 30 years that Manchester United is going to have more time on the training ground, which he talks about consistently, near enough week in, week out, having that time. I mean, the pressure for me only intensifies. And I go back to January, and I've said it since then, that the first 10 games for me with Ruben Amorim are going to be so vital. And I just hope that the fixture list actually comes out in a way where we're not getting the teams like Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, etc. Because we have seen that over the past 2 years at Man United, that they can perform in them games. They can actually raise the intensity and the levels. I want to see teams like we've struggled against and not beaten, like Brighton's, your Crystal Palaces, your Fulhams, and others out there, where we've really struggled to even put up an actual competition against the teams in actual games. And for me, that'll be a big test and a big sign of whether we're improving or not if we get them sort of teams in the first 10 games.
I think it'd be difficult to improve, to be honest with you. Every other team seems to have improved. United have gone completely backwards. We don't seem to be able to go on the attack at the start of a game. We seem to want to play possession football. Most people, and I mean most people I've spoken to, most of the comments and that have the belief in Ruben Amorim has waned, and he's right up against it. And I think at the start of the season, everyone will be watching, is there any change? And there has to be change, because he will come under proper scrutiny and his job will come under scrutiny. There's no two ways about it. Listen, I'm not going full in on Ruben Amorim in any way, good or bad. I'm just looking at the realities for this club, and this club is actually on its knees, and people are saying we're at rock bottom and all that. Listen, we're not at rock bottom. We are not at rock bottom. At the start of the season, we could be in turmoil, or we could be in really a good position if the football changes, if we're off to a winning start and everything like that, and we see attractive football. But we're not seeing attractive football. But that's what's needed. There's no risk reward in this team. So for me, Ruben Amorim has got it to, and the pressure should be on him. There's no hiding. It's not, having a go at Ruben Amorim or bigging him up in any way. The pressure is on the manager, and quite rightly so. It has to be turned around. He talks about wanting more time with training. Well, he's going to get it. So there is not one excuse from Ruben Amorim, his coaching staff, or anything about not having time with these players, getting used to a system and that. So we really should be off to a flyer, and that's what every fan should expect in that. But they can't see it at this moment. We can't see it. We've just got to wait and see what players come in, see how they gel and all that. But if people out there, and if this manager and these coaches are expecting players from below, the youth team and everything, to come into this squad, right, and help them out, because you won't have a 24-man squad. You can't have a 24-man squad. The figures don't work out. So is he going to bring other players through from the youth? Well, that's not going to work. It is not going to work.
You've just got to hope as well that, the point that he come in and took over at Manchester United, it could be like a blessing in disguise. We've seen the likes of Rashford, Anthony, who's clearly not in his plans going forward. And we all heard his comments that he'd have preferred to come in the summertime after this season. But like I say, hopefully it's a blessing in disguise, that, because he's then had chance to see who these bluffers are and the players who can't fit his system and will be on the journey, hopefully, fingers crossed, in for the future. Instead of him coming in the summer, and most of that squad, Rashford and Anthony could have still been here if he would have walked through the door. Instead of putting in performances, in pre-season, etc., bluffing the manager, putting in a bit of work rate intensity, and then it comes to the first few games of the season, and like we've seen with most of these players over the last couple of years, they're just sort of down tools kind of thing. They don't put in the required work rate.
Well, listen, the players deserve stick. There's no two ways about it. But people are now calling Ruben Amorim the bluffer. He's come out with everything. It's not my team. I didn't want to be here. Every excuse under the sun. I've not had time to train with these players. I'm working on it. I'm looking to the summer and everything. He's used every excuse under the book, in the book, shall I say, right? And it looks that way because where we are in the league and what we're seeing on the pitch with our own eyes, the football is disgusting. And the football the other night in a final was disgusting. But what people have homed in on at, right, is the conversation of, hang on a minute, you're playing in a final, okay? You need to do a surprise and all that. Well, what Ruben Amorim did, he's shown the Tottenham coaching staff and everyone, right, this is how I'm going to set up, which we all know how he's going to set up. But he played that team against Chelsea on the Friday, and nothing changed when it come to the Wednesday. So they knew how to play us. It was Tottenham what changed. Ruben Amorim isn't for changing. Well, that could be the downfall, and that's what people are saying. He's been bluffing. He's not changing. It's just doesn't sound right. But the opportunity to change that has to be given him in the summer, and at the start of the season, we have to see change. I'm not for sacking managers. I want the manager to be given the chance. I wanted Erik ten Hag to be given the chance till the end of his third term. But, 4 points off the Champions League. Hey, wouldn't we like that? But that's where Erik ten Hag was when he got the sack. So this manager, based on what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has done in the past, panic mode and everything else like that, not really got a set plan, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And I have never trusted Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and I don't believe he's here, right, for what he says. I think he's here just for one thing.
I want to know your thoughts and opinions on Garnacho and his comments that he's made after the game on Wednesday night as well, and also just coming on for the last, 20 minutes. Yeah. And we was having a discussion as well this morning about the system Ruben Amorim plays. You go back roughly 12 months ago, Sir Jim Ratcliffe come out publicly and said, we will set the style at Manchester United and how this football team plays. Why aren't they doing it in the academy? Now, obviously, Barcelona, we all know it's all set from the youth level going up into the first team. Is that also done at the likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, etc.? Maybe some people out there with a wider knowledge than myself can tell us that. But you would expect a system like this where it comes like, you need specialist players in it. Let's face it, by the looks of it, it would be set in the youth team so they have a good idea then when they get to a certain age, a certain level of whether they can actually fit into the first team. Surely, wouldn't that make it easier as a natural progression as well?
Look, what comes out of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's mouth regarding football tactics and everything else like that, about how we want to see the football played and that, right, just doesn't wash with me. He hasn't got a clue. He just has not got a clue. And I think when you look around at the men in suits and all that, I don't think they've got a clue. I mean, he panicked over Dan Ashworth. Dan Ashworth, he brought him in, paid compensation, 4 million, wanted him desperately and all that. He wanted him, I'm bringing in the top men and all that, brings him in. And then over one thing, he sacks him because Dan Ashworth didn't agree with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So what's that telling you about Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Brings in the people to run the football club, but because he doesn't like what he's hearing, you're out. That's no way to run a football club. Might be a way to run his business, okay, and he might have more knowledge of the business, but it's no way to run a football club. Bringing in somebody, right, who's got a speciality in football, and then get rid of him because he doesn't like his opinion on who should replace the manager under Erik ten Hag. And that's the problem you've got going forward. There is no long-term plan. There should have been. And it's cut. I look at it.
The thing is, though, as well, sorry to interrupt, but you look at Manchester United culture, the history of this football club. You can talk about culture with certain players and their attitudes. I do get that. But the history of the culture of Manchester United is built on bravery and freedom on that pitch.
Correct.
I don't see that in this system right now. Is that down largely to certain individual players who aren't good enough? Or do you actually see a problem with the actual system in being able to give that to the players? Because the only person I see playing with freedom and bravery constantly when he plays is Ahmad. You do also get that with Garnacho, but like I said, I want your comments first on his comments after the game.
Well, I think it's gone. I think when you look at the history of Man United, it's just been slung in the gutter with what's going on. I listen to the fans. I've been talking, and they cannot believe what's going on. Some people are just thinking, well, if this is the style of football, what I'm expected to watch and support, it's not for me because they're not enjoying it. We've been brought up on the danger, just taking chances and everything else, taking the risks and everything else like that, right? And going on the attack, putting people on the back foot. Well, it's us what are on the back foot, and people aren't enjoying. If this is the style of football and it doesn't improve, where we're scoring goals, going on the attack, listen, every team gets beat, right? There's no harm in that, but you have to put on a performance, and people aren't seeing it, and people are actually saying, fans are actually saying, I'm not having it. I am not putting up with this. So how long can Sir Jim Ratcliffe put up with it? How long can the fans put up with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, right? Chopping and changing his mind, not being astute up there in the brain, not knowing, not having the football brain, which seems at the moment, well, I say at the moment, we'll see in the first 2-3 months of the season, right, how the pressure affects Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because I don't think he's got a football brain. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's got a clue about the history of this football club, the way he's decimated inside there.
Yeah, I totally agree with them. Final comments from you. Ross Hugh from our members club says Garnacho doesn't give his striker any service and has a bit of an attitude problem, I'd sell him. And yeah, let us know what you think. Do you think you'll actually see Garnacho in a Manchester United shirt next season? I'm starting to think.
Well, I what's the name? I made a point the other night about Bruno, and the person I was speaking to this morning, I said Bruno wasn't passing to Garnacho, and Garnacho was just there on the left, and I've seen it 4 times. 4 times now. Garnacho was only on the pitch for 20 minutes. So for me, there was clearly a dressing room problem, okay, with Garnacho, because Bruno blanked him. And he preferred to try and switch the ball to the right, which was harder, took longer, whereas Garnacho was in the position on the left wing to receive the ball and then go running in the penalty area, which is what we needed. But for me, I'm telling you, and people I spoke to agree that Bruno deliberately blanked, and I mean blanked, Garnacho with the ball. Right, because what we needed that attack from the winger, and he didn't do it. Now, there was clearly an issue. There is clearly an issue what was in that dressing room beforehand, and we know what Garnacho said afterwards, and that he was clearly disappointed, but he can't be doing what he's doing. Now, has he spoken out? Has his attitude been seen there? And you're all supposed to be one for a cup final, but I am telling you, our captain, in my opinion, and a few other people's opinions, deliberately did not give him the ball.
Yeah, Ruben Amorim did let the actual squad know who would be starting that game the day before the Europa League final. And if you take yourself back to when he first walked through the door, there must have been issues there with Garnacho, Rashford as well, because they were dropped for that Manchester City away game. But he did actually come back, Garnacho, into the squad, into the first team. And he did sort of knuckle down from what I seen and tried adjusting to playing in this number 10 role. But for me, he's never going to be that number 10. I want him out on the wide left me. That's what United and the culture, like we were talking about, is built on wide players that are going to get you off your seat, like Ahmad and Garnacho.
Well, I personally, I look at the situation. I can't see him being here next year, because this isn't the first time under Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim wants discipline and all that. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. Okay, but he's done it again. And the dressing room and the squad will not be happy that he's getting away with it. He's had his punishment, and now he's going to be punished for this. And I look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe on it. There's your excuse, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That's what he'll be using, discipline and all that, and he'll go and cash in on it. And he's just looking at the money. That's what he's doing. And it could be even included Mainu. You just don't know. But he, for me, is not staying. And he's put them tweets out, whatever they were, tweets or on Snapchat or something. I'm not sure what it is. But he's put them out there. And he has clearly got an attitude. And he's saying, hey, this manager doesn't know what he's doing. I'm the man, and you didn't even pick me. Well, there's a challenge, and that challenge has to be faced head on, and Amorim will win that battle.
Yeah, I think his brother come out with something on, was it Instagram? I think Garnacho also done some sort of interview with some sort of news station, some sports station away from the UK. But I'm just going to dive into the chat. Stuart Barrett from our Members Club, thanks for the super chat.
Thank you.
He says Garnacho is a gobshite. Mr. Angry is gifted 1 membership. Person who's got that membership, give a big thank you to Mr. Angry. One thing we discussed this morning is we bought Agata back in the summer. Correct me if I'm wrong, was it roughly about 50 million from PSG? We actually had to sell Scott McTominay to bring Agati in, and he doesn't even get a minute in a Europa League final.
Yeah, look,
I mean, what does that say as well about his future in this system?
Well, what it says is, what everyone's saying is, he picked the wrong team. He doesn't know what he's doing. He was more defensive and everything, and we needed a bit of bite in there. Everyone could see that. And we needed forward movement. We needed to be on the front foot. And this is the dilemma what fans are in now. Back him. Don't back Ruben Amorim. What's going on? Do people really know what's going on? Are the coaches good enough and all that? Right? But Ugarte should have been in that side. That's looking back. He should have been picked. No 2 ways about it. But looking at Garnacho's not improved from last season. But the thing is, you have to say this. Is he going to improve in this system? I don't think he is. No. We're playing more defensive. We're allowing teams to come on. That's what's happening. He's not going to improve. I can clearly see that myself. now. In this system, Garnacho's not going to improve. But when you look at the system, it was made for Ugarte to get about, and he wasn't in there.
Especially if you're playing Casemiro in that like anchor role, what you might call it. I mean, he was near enough holding hands with Harry Maguire and Yoro. He was playing that deep. For me, you needed Ugarte in there to cover the ground and then put Bruno in that number 10 role. Whether he should have played up there with Mason Mount or Garnacho or Ahmad, I mean, let me know what your thinking is. But he should have started for me, Ugarte, to give them legs in that midfield alongside Casemiro, because I thought the space was too wide between Casemiro and Bruno at times, and in particular Bruno and Mason Mount. When we got further forward into the final third, it just all broke down because there wasn't enough players moving up the pitch from the back three.
Look, what it is, we can all argue about who we think should have started the game and everything else like that. But what it all boils down to, in a nutshell, this is Manchester United. Okay, we've been brought up on attacking football and all that. And I said he has to be on the front foot. He has to put a team out there. I don't care what team was going to be put out there. It didn't bother me, okay, after the season we've had. But what I wanted to see, okay, and I said it the day before on video, and I said, this team needs to be on the front foot and take it to them. So regardless, it didn't matter who was on the pitch. They had to be on the front foot. And when you look at the players there, no one was on the front foot. Nobody at all. In that first half, there was only Ahmad, and he was double marked all the time. And then when you look at the style and the way they played, slow, methodic, back through. You look at that team. That Tottenham team. It wasn't bothered about shooting.
No, it was just happy sitting compact.
It just wasn't bothered. Yeah. But you know what? You know, when they went really compact, or when they went on that defensive thing, time and time again, that team or any team what we put out with the players, the system can't break down the low block. It cannot break down the low block. It's very rare when it's like carnage and chaos on the pitch, the last 10, 15 minutes, you're going for it. Let's go for the Lyon game. They were all playing defensive.
Harry Maguire
right?
up front.
Right. There we go. It was just there. That wasn't skill from the management or anything like that, right? To get us back in the game, to win us the game. We're not seeing that at all. I'm really, after speaking to people and after seeing all the comments on this channel, I think the pressure. I've never known pressure like this. I've never known pressure like this, and it's going to get worse on the manager and on the men in suits inside there. I'm not sure what's going to happen Sunday. To be honest with you, a lot of people have spoke to, they're not even bothering turning up. What for? Yeah. What they're turning up for?
You're not going to go and sit in that ground and start applauding some of them players after that season. Even the manager right now as well. And for me personally, in terms of the season, I know we've got one game to go, but I've checked out mentally from this team. I've got no love whatsoever for these players. I'm still got big question marks on the manager. I love my football club, but I've checked out for my own mental state instead of just getting angry, ranting week in, week out.
No, what it is, the fans who went over there, spoke to and that, and the fans, you know, they haven't got the stomach for it. They haven't got it. There's no enthusiasm. It's been kicked out of them. They can't see themselves coming to Old Trafford on Sunday singing United songs, the old songs, or trying to get behind the team. There's nothing to get behind. We don't see it. I go back to what I said before. People are talking about this club being at rock bottom. It's not at rock bottom. I always knew it was going to be bad this year. Said it, carnage and chaos. But I am telling you, this is not rock bottom. The reason why I say that is because there's no strategy. There's no plan. There's no plan going forward. There is nothing.
Well,
I thought when Ratcliffe came in, right, they'd have a plan and sort it out.
That's the plan.
And it
best in class. That's what Ratcliffe told us all. We're going to get the best in class. Has he already recruited the best in class behind the scenes with the manager? Will he actually recruit the best in class in terms of players on the pitch in the summer and get the ball rolling there? I mean,
You
God
can't
forbid.
trust.
Here's one question for you. I mean, how many weeks did we have it for last season before that FA Cup final with Ten Hag in the papers, every news outlet going on about Sir David Brailsford's end of season review?
Ooh.
My God, what that review is going to entail this season. I mean, where do you actually get any positives out of that season in the review?
No, well, you have to look at it and go, well, there is no positives. Everyone out there knows there's no positives for this year. I can't give one positive at this moment, this season, right? I might have to sit down for an hour and think about it, but I can't, off the tip of my tongue, give one positive. So what is Brailsford going to say? Oh, it was a mistake getting rid of Dan Ashworth. It was a mistake getting rid of Erik ten Hag. It's a mistake bringing Ruben Amorim. What is he going to do? Because he has to do a report. And do you know what he has to do a report? To satisfy Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
They're not going to point the fingers at themselves, are they?
No. And that's the problem we've got going forward. All I can turn around and say is, right, we're going to see the PR machine kick right in this summer, right? And it's going to really frustrate and annoy everybody. We're going to be talking about renovation, the new ground, possible this, possible that. And that's all we're going to hear. That's all we're going to hear. But three players ain't enough. Big problems. And I can't see any light at the end of the tunnel at this moment in time. I can only hope, right, that at the start of next season, well, I'm sick of hope.
Yeah,
we're all sick of hope. I'm sick of using that word, hope, because it shouldn't be like that here at Manchester United. This club is on its knees and it's going further. You know, I think, you know, I heard someone say the other day, this club isn't on its knees. He said, I'm having my face rubbed in the mud in the ground. That's how far it's gone.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And we've got a man there who's in charge of, like, more or less the sports science side of things with the players, into David Brailsford. And he's also doing probably another end-of-season review, riding round on his bicycle around Carrington and Old Trafford to get as much information as possible. But like we said earlier on, do you think they're really going to point the finger at themselves? I highly doubt it.
Well, they're not. But listen, the fans are pointing the finger, and they're pointing it at Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and they're pointing it at Ruben Amorim. The majority of fans. I'm not going to sort of try and hide this from anyone. There's no point. Ruben Amorim, the fingers are being pointed. They're being pointed at his style, his tactics, his man management, everything. His his press conferences. That press conference he gave after that Europa League final, right? People were up in arms about it, talking about, you know, I'll leave if that's what they want and all that. You know, what type of future does hold for this club with a manager talking like that after a loss in a Europa League final? Where was the confidence? Where was, like, the message for the fans for the summer and next year? There wasn't any.
Yeah, but people
are getting sick. People are getting sick at all the excuses and everything, right? There's no positivity.
But if you take a step back as well, like you look at Ruben Amorim as well, you know, he's not got this wealth of experience like some top managers out there of like 20 years managing in different countries with different top clubs. He's learning on the job as well. We've got a manager in, let's face it, who is still learning on the job because of his age as well and where he's managed. And he's just got to stick to his principles of what he actually knows. And fingers crossed, we're sick of hope, but that's all we can do, that it will be actually put right. Not in this summer transfer window, because it's not all going to come at once. Believe you me, it's going to take at least 3 summer transfer windows, but let's hope we can see some signs of improvement in the first 10 games of the season, because if we don't and we're still getting beat by the teams like Brighton, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, you know, West Ham and the likes, I mean, serious conversations need to be had.
The reality here is, three windows, but you've got to have 3 transfer windows with the right manager, with the right style of play.
I agree.
You talk about Ruben Amorim not having the vast experience. How many managers in the Premier League haven't had vast experiences all over with big clubs and have come to Old Trafford and just walked all over us?
Fair play.
Okay.
Arne Slot, but he's had a better squad.
No, I'm not even on about Arne Slot. I'm on about, you know, different managers. You know, what are in the Premier League. You can go right through them. I can't name them, right? who have got the same type of experience, even less.
But Manchester United is a different animal as well. The actual size of this football club globally, the pressure every single day, not just from fans, but the wider media. Listen, you need a certain type of character and a certain type of manager to be the face of this football club. And is Ruben Amorim that? That's what I'm talking about. Has he actually got that experience of taking that on his shoulders? Because to me, in his press conferences after games, sometimes I'm wavering over him.
No, we are wavering.
He is that.
That's what I'm saying. People are wavering. People are sick to death now, right, of listening to him. Every excuse, right, has been out there, and he keeps rinsing and repeating it. There was no, like, look, it's been bad. This is what's going to happen. This is going to be the change. I've got people behind me, and we're going to stick together, and we're going to change it. There was none of that. That's what I'm saying. So when you look forward to yourself and you say, well, what's the reality? The reality is, and people are saying it out there, the same type of football's going to be played, and we're not going to get the deadwood all out. We're going to have the players. And it can't all be on the players. This is what people are saying. I needed hope. I needed some a glimmer. Yeah, we all needed a lift. But the manager never gave it us. The manager never gave it us. How's he going to do it now? We've got this game on Sunday, which is like, you know, I'm dreading it, really. I'm
dreading it because, like I said earlier on, you're going to have Villa fans, I can guarantee it, singing "Ole, ole, ole" as Aston Villa pass the ball around the Manchester United players.
No, but that's
simple as that.
Yeah, but we've had that a few times. It's been embarrassing. Yeah. What we have to do is just sort of look forward, right? Regroup as fans, and it's going to be really, really hard. But we need something to lift us. And at this moment, I don't know what can lift us, because the reality is we've only got 3 targets, and we all know we can go through that full team. And if we got rid of that full team and brought 11 new players in, we'd say that's the only way. But that's not, the reality is that's not going to happen. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I've been through some tough times. This is the toughest, right? And I'm looking at Ruben Amorim, and I'll say to myself, you've got to turn this round. There's no ifs or buts. You've got to turn it round. So he gets a pass because all the talking he's done, all the talking about, I need more time, I need more time. Well, you're going to get the time. You're going to have it this summer. You're going to get it at the start of the season because you haven't got other games getting in the way. Yeah. So you've got everything.
One game a week.
So I'm giving it you. So you better change it. And that's the majority feeling of the fans. But, well, it's not the majority. Sorry about that. It's not the majority of feeling of fans. I think the majority of fans are saying, right, the reality is this manager don't know what to do. And that's the way it is. There is now a big, big divide, a big argument going on within the fan base. There's no belief. I think there's no belief at this moment from anybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for
only
me,
hope.
The anger and frustrations need to, though, also be pointed at the likes of Omar Barada, who I feel just gets a pass week in, week out when we're talking about the actual manager. Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. These are the people who have made the decisions, you know, giving Erik ten Hag that contract, sacking him at the start of the season, doing that actual pursuit of Dan Ashworth, sacking him as well, bringing Amorim in during the season. I mean, these are the people who have made them decisions, and this is why, in my opinion, we're currently at where we are in the Premier League and not winning that Europa League trophy. Yes, I know Amorim's in there, he's in control of the team, but largely their decisions have brought us to that.
No, I look at it this way. Instead of going round in circles, chasing, it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault. The buck stops with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He's the one who brought best in class, whether it's Barada,
Sir David Brailsford,
anyone, whoever was brought in. The buck stops with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He made the decisions, okay? He's in charge, and he clearly shown you who was in charge in making the decisions, okay? That's when he got rid of Dan Ashworth, okay? So why bring people in to make the decisions, but don't let them do the job? Because that's what Ratcliffe did with Dan Ashworth. He didn't let him do his job. He didn't advise him. Well, he listened to the advice, didn't like the advice, and slung him. Man has got no credit in the bank with me, Ratcliffe, and it is all down to him. Every decision in this club is down to him.
going to leave it on that, but I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today. It's been absolutely popping off in this chat, and I'd like to ask you to continue it in the actual comment section below. It'd be a big help to support the channel by smashing that like button, and we'll be back tomorrow, I think, with a match preview. Looking forward to that. Well, not looking forward, but looking at that Manchester United versus Aston Villa game, final game of the season. Thank God.
I don't know what to say. Please give me some advice about what to say in a match preview.
Sorry, just before I go, Tommy Brooks has just sent in a super chat.
Thank you.
Thanks, my mate. It says, what is the answer, question mark? We have gone through the same motion for the past 10 years. It is all about getting rid of the players. Amorim can't be blamed for what is going on at the club. We have seen it so many times, blame the manager and split the fan base.
I think.
Thanks for your super chat, Tommy Brooks.
How I look at it, you know, how can it change or anything like that? How it could have changed is someone coming in and buying this club in one go. And then you would have got rid of everything, okay, and starting afresh. Fans would have accepted that. Fans would have accepted, right, we're at rock bottom. We've got rid of everybody.
Glazers.
We're starting again. The Glazers have gone. Everyone's gone. You haven't got this split ownership, this sort of like deal, what's going on behind our backs. We don't know what's really going on.
Constant speculation.
There's no, that's what it is. You've got constant speculation. What would have been best, okay? And I can't see anything changing, right, until really everything's got to go. Someone has to buy the club. And Ratcliffe didn't do it. And all the talk about Ratcliffe turning around and going, and people backing him up, by the way. Oh, he's just got a plan to sort of buy the rest of the shares later on, right? That doesn't wash with me, never has done. Straight in with your money, take the club, and we would have all accepted, right, the tough times, because we know how tough it is to rebuild a football club, get them winning, get the mentality right, and get rid of all the deadwood. That was the answer, not the answer coming in here, trying to take over little bits of this and being like, look at me, I'm the top man, and not even understanding what football's about. It needed a full buyout, and we never got it. And until that happens, you ain't going to see any change. That's how I see it. That's how I called it when Ratcliffe came in.
You need a clean sweep of this club.
And I'm not changing my mind.
Hopefully that answered your question, Tommy Brook, and everyone else is out there. Like I say, I won't go through it again, but thanks for joining us, everyone. Smash a like on the video, and we'll see you again soon. Enjoy the day if you can. Thank you.
Thank you.